future so that they can live well. For heaven's sake, we even put the list.
Let the people talk. Every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. on Phoenix FM.
Good morning, everybody. It's 9:10. Welcome to Friday's edition of Let the People Talk. My name is Lucci. On the program this morning, we're glad to host somebody who hasn't been at the station for a little while, but also, interestingly, someone that I haven't spoken to before. I know that every time that she has come in, she's always spoken to Chimweka, but this is my first time speaking to her. Her name is Chishala Kateka. She is the president of the New Heritage Party. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning, Lucci. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
So when you were walking into the building, I was actually a little worried. I thought I should let your team know that there were a lot of Easterners who were are hanging around the building waiting for people so that they could, pour some powder. But I am happy to see you.
That I got through.
That you managed to get through unscathed without any powder on your face.
Well, firstly, I would like to pay my condolences to Mwinelu Vemba on the passing of his wife. It's a very sad thing considering the fact that he recently lost two sons. Yes. So it's very sad, and our deepest condolences to him. And just to warn any Bembas that may stray into this place, I was met with two bottles, not one, two bottles of powder, and I had to do some serious negotiation to come in. But they'll be waiting for me at 11 o'clock.
No, they have warned everybody this morning. But yeah, listen. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to meet you because I've never met you. And I wanted to just find out, even before we get into the crux of the conversation, I just wanted to find out from you. And I always ask this question to people that are in politics. What's it like? And I know you've been in it for a little while, but what's it like now as somebody, especially as we're going into another general election? What's the mood like, for yourself, family? What's it like for you every single day, living this life of trying to give a service to this country?
Yeah, it's a strange thing, hey. It's very demanding. Mm-hmm. I think for me, because I'm from more from the corporate world, and I've spent more time professionally in the corporate world than I have here, the lack of structure, it's just, because anybody can call you anytime and so on and so forth. And it's also demanding on the family because they want to have quality time with you. And then somebody calls you or they call you and say, look, we have to meet, you have to come and things like that. So that unstructured approach is very demanding. Having said that, it's a very busy world. Right now, if I was in the corporate world, I would have gone to my boss, my board, or whosoever and said, guys, I need 1 month. I just need to rest. But in this political environment, you can't do that. It's just demanding all the way to 2026, 13th August. So I'm ready for that. My family is supportive.
Is there a place for, and there obviously is, but I'm just curious, is there a way of marriage between the two worlds, the corporate world and politics? And what can you bring from the corporate world into politics that is a little different from what's on the political sphere?
So in the corporate world, like I said, it's structured and you keep time when you have meetings and whatever. And also being accountable, you can't spend money and not be accountable for it and things like that. So for me, that has to be, it needs to come into this world. Look, we, for those of us that have come into politics to make a difference, we look at every possible way that we can make a difference in the political arena. Why? Because Zambia is not where it should be. And part of the problem is the way we approach politics. For some people, they go into politics to make money. For some people, they go in there to make a name and things like that. But we have to come to the position where we are going in there to say, guys, let's take Zambia from where it is, let's put it back on track, and then let's make this thing work. And if we are doing that, then you're not just being a populist. Is it populist?
Populist, yes.
Yeah. You're not just being a populist person. You are talking about issues that others will not discuss. You know, like right now, if you went to my Facebook page, I'm talking about, let's talk about the young people, the young adults. And for me, the young adults are up to 40 years. These people, as adults, by and large, we just neglect them. We just leave them to
figure it out.
Yeah. And then when this person is not doing well, you are thinking, why is this person so lazy? And we don't understand. We don't bother to get into the minds of the young people to see the way they see the world and what they experience. Yesterday, I put a story of this father who's saying to the son, "You're so lazy, you've got to man up," etc., etc. Eventually, the son says, "Look, I've applied to 400 places. And, so while I'm sitting in my room, you think I'm playing games. I'm actually making applications and blah, blah, blah." Eventually, he commits suicide because the father didn't understand him, didn't see his perspective. When I went to school as Chishala kateka, secondary school, by the way, I'm not talking about university, we were able to get jobs. On vacation, you could get a job. Now, you get a degree, you have a master's, and you will not be able to get a job. Things are different. So we really need to look at all those issues and come up with a solution, because I believe there's no problem that doesn't have a solution. So, yeah.
Okay. And I want to ask you about those solutions a little later on this morning.
Sure.
But I also saw this morning when I was coming into work, there's a conversation on the station this morning on the breakfast show with Chimwaka and Hope. And they were having a conversation around something that the army commander had said. And there was obviously a debate between the phrasing of the word exterminate, whether it's right, to use the word. I always say that Zambians were very literal. I could be wrong. But I'm curious, what's your take on, do you think it was strong language? Do you think, those words shouldn't be used? Is there a different way for us to tackle what is clearly a big problem, illegal minors? What do you think, either should have been said or shouldn't have been said?
Okay, so before I even answer that, I want to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so in Zambia, according to our constitution, we've got separation of powers, separation of roles, and things like that. We have clearly indicated, or we have clearly a police service, we have the army, we have the Zambia National Service, and we have, I'm talking about the defense forces now, not the bigger picture. Yeah. And we have ZAF, Zambia Air Force. And you do not have Zambia Air Force coming into the place of the police to do what the police should do. Neither do you have Zambia police going into what the army should do, and vice versa, whichever way you look at it. So we have an issue, and by and large, the army deals with external security.
And not
internal. Of course, if the worst comes to the worst, you can use the army, but only if the normal institutions fail, and they are coming in to augment, not to take over. So this issue of the illegal miners, as they are called illegal miners. In your own country, you're an illegal miner. There are two things here. It is a security risk for the miners, and apparently, there may be some criminal elements coming in, etc., etc. However, it is an internal issue which should be handled by the police. That's order. Order is always important. It's always important to have order, because if you don't have order, you have disorder, and that breeds a whole lot of problems. Now, when we have not seen that the police have been deployed and have failed, and yet here we are deploying the army. Now, the army commander, let me not say the army, because the army, the rank and file follow orders. And he says he's following orders from the president, according to his statement. The commander uses the words exterminate. We're going to exterminate and we're going to fumigate. Now, when I use the word fumigate, something comes in your mind, to anybody's mind. Two things. Number one is cockroaches. You fumigate cockroaches and vermin. Yeah? That's what you fumigate. And then you fumigate and then you exterminate them. I'll tell you who else used these words. In Rwanda, before the genocide, those words were used about the Hutus. In Nazi Germany...
I was about to say, I actually thought you were going to say Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
That's the one that I remember.
Yes,
Yeah.
Nazi Germany, that was what was used about the Jews. We are going to fumigate them. We're going to exterminate them. This language is definitely not acceptable in this nation. Definitely not in Zambia. It's unfortunate, and I think that the commander would do well to apologize to the Zambians, because those miners, when you look at the social economic factors at play in a country, they are desperate to make a living. Just like the Kachasu brewers, we know that was wrong. The illegal mining is wrong. There are things that the booths, it's wrong. The whatever is wrong. However, the way we deal with these matters matter if we want to keep the peace that we have enjoyed. This army commander, by the use of those words, what is he trying to incite? What is he saying about those miners there? They are vermin, they are cockroaches who just... And when you use such words, it then means that me, who is in the army, in the rank and file, I start to look at these things like their lives don't really matter. Now, in Zambia, we are meant, when we break the law, well, they are breaking the law according to our laws, the miners. When you break the law, you must go through the process of, the legal process, not to be exterminated and fumigated. But he doesn't end there. He then goes to Chingola. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He then goes to Chingola and he starts to issue threats against those people who threw stones. Is there not a process already in process? The police picked up these. They may not have picked all of them up, but there's a process there. Why does the Zambia army want to overreach into the realms of what the police should be doing? No.
So there are a couple of things. The statement that he made in Chingola was interesting, because it almost felt like he was saying that the stones that were thrown at the army commander, at the commander-in-chief, which is the president, and so we as the army will defend him. I think maybe that's what he meant. I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I was curious. It was a curious statement to make, because I thought, oh, wait, I wonder whether that's what he means, but maybe it's just gotten lost in translation. And then I'm also curious, is it an admission from the powers that be that maybe the Zambia police is ill-equipped? I'm not a big fan of whataboutism, but in the past we've seen boots on the ground. With cholera, sometimes they'll call upon the army to, go in the streets. When there was COVID, there were boots on the ground. Is it a sign that there is a weakness and there is a lack of trust in the job and the performance levels of Zambia police, which is why sometimes there does seem to be a tendency to call upon the army.
You recall that I said that if there is a shortfall beside, then these would come in to augment. But this particular situation, they're not coming in to augment, they're coming to take over. Okay? So let's be very clear about the roles that, and also there's a reason why nations worldwide are structured that way. It's not, the army is not your first line of defense. Internally, your first line of defense is the police.
Yeah.
If you think there's a weakness, deal with it. Train them, retrain them. Okay? The consequences of using an army on the civilians are very, very dire. Very dire.
Should they have...
And also, why should you use bullets as a first line of defense? These are civilians. Come on. What is that?
Should there have been again, we don't know this, but should there have been a statement prior
Exactly.
to say that, maybe these are the challenges that are being experienced on the ground? We've seen an influx of whether it's foreign miners, or whatever the case. Should that have been the case before the state? Because now it almost feels like statement is made and now we're going backwards to try and understand. But wait, why are you saying this? Where did it come from? Who are these people?
Yeah.
Are they foreign? Are they for you to deploy the army? It almost feels like there is something serious going on. Should there have been prior warning, prior statement to say this is what's going on, and so because of this, we will be sending boots on the ground?
My only response to that is I have noted that communication is not this government's strongest point. Yeah. It's one of the weakest points. And seriously, the fact that people are so upset, I mean, this thing is so emotive. People are upset. I go to social media and I'm looking at the comments and I'm amazed at the level of engagement by our people in this matter. And they bring out very pertinent issues, saying, no, the army shouldn't have done this. Okay, so it has come from the president. So what is the president saying to us? So maybe the president needs to clear this up.
So are you also part of the camp of people who are a little concerned by him being on holiday? Or as somebody who comes from the corporate world, you're like, but you know what, everyone gets leave.
Okay, again, communication in that matter would help. I mean, personally, somebody called me and said, the president is sick. I said, look, one of the things I don't do is I do not make comments on something that I don't know. I like to verify things. And firstly, if I were in government, if I was the one in his space, I would have said, country, the president is going on leave.
And the length of time as well, correct?
Yes. That way, there is no speculation. I mean, look at the level of speculation. We waste so much time discussing issues. No, vaenda na kankondo. No, vale posha abantu with the left hand or the right hand or whatever hand. All of that could be avoided if this government would be more communicative, and informative. Just let the people want to know where they're the first time the question was asked, somebody secretary to cabinet or whosoever should have responded and said, the president has gone on leave, he's gone to take
his annual leave
or whatever,
days,
whatever. And we move on. But no, everything is such a secret. Why?
I actually wondered, I wondered, and maybe this is something that maybe we as a country, as citizens, need to start thinking about. Maybe we need to start putting it on paper, whether it's gazetted and say, this is how many days a president is entitled, to go on leave. That way, when someone decides, I'm taking leave, much like those of us in the corporate world, you sort of know. I know I've taken my annual leave.
Yeah.
How many days would it be roughly? Maybe it's 30 days a month. And it goes away.
But I think we've had presidents, going on leave before. This is not the first time. The difference is that it was announced before. Look, if I'm tired and I'm just a member of the opposition, what more? A sitting president, he will get tired, and anything can happen. Also, even if he does fall sick, People fall sick. It does, sickness is no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be a 1-month-old baby. You could be a president. You could be whatever. You will get sick. And there's no harm in saying the president is not feeling well. He's gone to hospital, blah, blah, blah.
And you
know, but the communication, what you communicate is very important. And for me, I really blame his handlers because they leave things to fester. You know, what's Mwetwa doing? You know, why leave these things to fester? Bring it out so that people know and we move on. And these are the changes that I'm talking about. We really need to become a nation that is, we are so far behind. We need to be a nation that is moving ahead and forward.
Is it proactiveness? Is it a lack of proactiveness? I mean, rather than even talking about, like in this case, in the case of communication, right? Is it less about the fact that there is a lack of it to it being more, there needs to be more proactivity?
Look, the problem that we have as a nation is huge. It's huge. It's got a lot to do with mindsets. Okay? I've dealt with this issue of mindsets because I had started an NGO called Youth with a Vision for Zambia in 2002 to 2002 to 2006. And I was dealing with young people up to the age of 40. And the mindsets of most of us is what brings this problem. So unfortunately, because we don't train our people to think in a certain way, which is why we have to change our educational curricula, people go with certain mindsets even into government, you know. So you are just sitting there waiting for this man who's clearly tired or who is sick or whatever the case may be to tell me what to do. Even though you know what you're supposed to do, you don't want to make a mistake, therefore you just sit. You won't even get up and say, let me go and ask. Look at it in this way. When I was MD somewhere and people, you know, you are working and then this person is very unhappy, but they never say why they are unhappy. They won't say, can you move? I really feel I should do this job. I can do this job. They don't do that. They expect you to guess. And this is the problem that we have, where people are waiting constantly for someone to tell them what to do. When you look at this government, sorry to say, people are waiting for the president always to make a pronouncement about something. The ministers, what are they doing? They are not proactive. They are waiting to be told what to do. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And that's why when we move on to the political landscape, some of us are saying, no, we need to change the way we do this governance aspect. We need a team, not a person, not a starring president, you know, starring. No. We need a team of people. This one is thinking here, this one is thinking here. Only then are we going to begin to move forward.
Okay, let's actually talk about the landscape. Because it is all over the place.
Yes, it is.
For me, who's looking on the outside, it feels like it's all over the place. Why is that the case?
Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is what people need to understand when you look at politicians, it doesn't matter whether it's at presidential level, MP level, councillor level, mayor. Different people go in there for different reasons. Okay, some people I've identified 6 types of people. I mean, I like to observe things and come up with my own conclusions, because if I'm looking for a solution, I must understand the problem. If I don't understand the problem, there's no way that I'll come up with a solution. So the first is somebody who says, Lucha president. President. You understand? If Luchi can do it, I can do it as well. So I go in there. Okay? And this is at all levels, by the way. I'm just using just president, but I'm just using that as an example. Then the second one is the person who says, I've achieved so much in my life. I've done this, I've done that, I've done Kwashala Fe to become president. I've got. The third one is the type who says, I also want to experience this thing. I also want to be called honorable. I want whatever. The fourth type are those who you have these multinationals coming to you and saying, Chishala, you are a very reasonable person. We'll bankroll your. By the way, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So
okay.
don't.
I know someone might clip this.
I said, no wonder Chishala went into politics. Chishala, you are a very reasonable person. Blah blah blah. So we'll bankroll your campaign, and but after you become president, give us this laptop, that laptop, that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That mine, this mine, that. Yeah. And the fourth type are those who go in there because they are. So this third type, by the way, part of it is also, I want to make money, I want to make a name, I want to have that power, I want to experience. Yeah. And then the fifth type are those who go in there for motives of maybe vengeance. When I get in there, I'll do this, that, or the other. And the sixth type that we hardly ever get are those, who go in there and they say, you know what? Zambia is such a potentially happening country. Let's go in there and do the right thing, and let's see if we can put it back on track. And as Zambians, unfortunately, the electorate, we follow those who make the most noise. We follow those who are dishing out the most money, the most chitenges, the most T-shirts, and things like that. But we do not analyze the leaders. These five that I described are not going to change the country because their motives are wrong. Okay? So these guys, it has to be about them. It has to be them. And they want to make sure that they are the ones who are whatever. So whereas if you going in there to serve the Zambian people, you want to be part of the team. Because believe me, it's not possible to sort out this country, a single political party to sort out this country. I quickly, after when I first joined politics, I thought everybody, Chishala is here. It didn't happen, mate. Yes, there were some people who celebrated it, but not adequately. And reality soon hit, and I realized that if we are going to do this, we have to work with others. So, yeah. Now, when you look at our landscape at the moment, it seems like there's so much confusion in the opposition. Some people want to, they form political parties not because they are going to become, they aim to become president. They form political parties so that maybe somebody can look at them and say, come and be my running mate. Shan. Do you see what I'm saying? They're just
it's an opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. Opportunists. Yeah. And so when you look at between now and August, it's a serious transfer window for politicians. Do you know what I'm saying? You have that in football. Yeah. There's a transfer window. Yeah. This is it here. And this is also a Shinga Bata season. This is where you really must analyze what the politician is saying, because they'll say anything just to get to where it is. Now, in all this confusion, God never leaves a vacuum. So something will come out and become clearer as we head towards the elections. Now, I know that, however, certain things need to be put in place. So let's look at the New Heritage Party. The New Heritage Party, we believe we've really got the right motive. Somebody had written the other day, if UPND haven't bought you already, can you join us in this other party? And I'm thinking, so this person thinks I've come into politics to be bought. Do you know what I'm saying? And that is a mindset that somebody out there has got. They think it's normal for politicians to be bought. So anyway, as New Heritage Party, yes, we've got the right message. We've been talking about it forever and a day. We have the right motive, etc., but it is not enough. Because every single political party has got the president and then a few people who would be able to deliver. Okay. Now, if I go, let's say there's a miracle and New Heritage, Chishala Kateka is voted as president and the New Heritage Party as a standalone. I don't have enough people to form government. Do you see what I'm saying? Enough people with... and our members must forgive me. The fact that we were running away together from the UPND or whosoever doesn't mean I should make you a cabinet minister. Do you have the capacity? Do you see what I mean? Where we are as a nation, we really need to get the good minds, good brains. So get some from wherever in Zambia to take this nation and put it back on track. There is a lot of work that is needed. The country is in a mess. Wherever you look, the country is in a mess. We are not in the state that we are. Therefore, we need to work together, at least for these 5 years, until things are put in place.
But what does that look like? And the reason I ask is because you hear... The popular phrase that has been coined over the past 4 years is alliances. I haven't heard alliances spoken, before the way they have been spoken about in the past 4 years. And I would imagine it's because of what you just said, that you can't do this alone. You need to have like-minded people, working with you. But is that where the problem comes in? The fact that you have the 5 examples that you gave us, the 5 traits, 5 reasons why people go into politics. And it can't, for whatever reason, these 5 elements can't seem to operate as one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why alliances have a problem, because you are working with people who are not of a like mind. So even when you do form alliances initially, you are thinking, yeah, we are together here, tulipamo. And then, Mamona Fiomuneno starts to do strange things. Excuse me. I thought, I can be very specific. We started UKA, United Kwacha Alliance. Yeah. And here's what we agreed. We'll come together. Not a problem. We came together. The second thing we'll do is to come up with solutions for the country. So we will sit and we'll work and we'll come up with solutions we'll discuss and, the exciting stuff, the solutions for the country. And then thirdly, we'll come up with a flag bearer. Okay, you see, this order is very important. Why? Because in Zambia, once Luchi is the one that is appointed as the candidate, we'll forget everything else. And I'll be fukamaling to you. You see what I'm saying? And when you say, no, you see, I don't think the mines should be owned by Zambians. Then we'll say, yes, Maluchi, you're right. They shouldn't be owned by Zambians. And that's the way things happen. That it's just the way we think in Zambia. So whoever is the leader, we begin. So we said, no, in order to avoid that, let's all be at the same level as we come up with these solutions for Zambia. Then no one person is the one that is, bringing more to bear than anybody else. Because the fact that, who you were before you become a flag bearer is who you are. Even after we appoint you. What has happened here to give you infinite wisdom? Do you see what I'm saying? So let's all be at the same level. Then we'll choose one from amongst us who we say, when we look at these solutions that the best person to deliver these is Chishala. Okay. And that's the way. But what happens? as you are going, you suddenly find, no, you must choose this one as the flag bearer, until you break up. And that's where I've been in an alliance that has broken up twice for that reason, where people insist we must choose this, we must hurry up, we must choose this flag bearer, blah, blah, blah. And yet, what Zambians really need are the solutions and a team to deliver those solutions. And that's why we keep trying. We know that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be in an alliance. Like I said, you will say, let's meet at 2 o'clock. Some people are coming at 3 o'clock. And you're thinking, what? But we have to continue doing this for the sake of the Zambians. If we don't do that, I'm afraid that we'll continue along the same trajectory that we have been.
Is it an admission that, again, going at it alone is one thing, but is it an admission on the fact that it hasn't worked? That too many people have selfish motives, and unfortunately, with selfish motives comes a failure.
Sometimes it's selfish motives. Sometimes it's just being strong-minded. Look, we are born in different houses. We are all running political parties, and then sometimes I feel that what I'm saying is right, and it can't be any other way. And that's why it takes months to gel and to come up with whatever. So we've formed what we are calling the We Are One Zambia Alliance. Okay, there are 5 political parties in there. When we started discussions for that, there were like 11 of us. When we did UKA, by the way, we were at a lunch and we came up with the name UKA, and hey, guys, there were 7 of us. Guys, UKA, it sounds great. United Kwacha Alliance. We clapped for ourselves and announced the next day. Before we did any work, with WOZA, We Are One Zambia Alliance as well. We said we are not taking that route. We are going to deal with the deal breakers, the things that will cause us to break down before we announce ourselves. In fact, at first we were called the United Front, United Opposition Front or something like that. And then until somebody came and said, oh, you guys, you don't know that my party is called United Front, so we had to abandon that name. But having said that, We Are One Zambia Alliance, we had all these political parties in there, and because we decided to deal with the issues that would break us up first before announcing ourselves, some people left, and now there are 5 of us, and once we agreed on those issues and we signed, that's when we announced ourselves. I think that we have people of a like mind in there, and we seem to be to have stabilized. In fact, we had our first, we launched in December, and we had our first application of another party wanting to join us yesterday. So, yeah.
Okay, so on the right track then?
We are on the right track. In fact, if I may explain, as WOZA, we have been invited to something that is even bigger, okay? But we are going as us, which has been put together by some eminent persons. I saw people calling them at their spent forces in the papers the other day. So we've been invited to that. So that would be, because what had happened is you've got the Tonse, you've got the WOZA, you've got the PF. I'm putting those separate because of you've seen what is going on, you know. So it's almost as though each grouping is fighting its own battle. This grouping is fighting, but at the end of the day, once each grouping has sorted out its issues, there's supposed to be a grand alliance, and this thing that we've been invited to is more like a grand alliance. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the solutions then, because it's difficult. And I always say this every time I speak to politicians, especially those that are in alliances. I always say it's really difficult to have conversations around solutions because you're obviously in one. Everyone has their own ideas, and then bring them together. Some might change, ideologies differ, etc., etc. But the problems are the same. This country faces the same problems.
Same set of problems.
And maybe the solutions might differ slightly, but the solutions generally would be the same.
Absolutely.
So can I ask, especially on the big one, which is the economy? The economy is always the big one. How do we lessen this gap between rich and poor? Because it does feel like at the moment that the rich are extremely rich and the poor are extremely poor. And those in the middle are just...
They have dropped.
Exactly. They've actually dropped.
They've dropped to the bottom as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do we fix that?
So what we're talking about is inequality in the economy. We have... So if you go to ZRA and you have a working class, okay, there are people who are in employment, formal employment, and then there are people who are not in formal employment. You know, it's like the rest of us are hustlers. So the rest of us are hustlers, and when the economy is not doing well. When you look at our economy, interest rates are extremely high. The tax is also high, but let's go to the interest rate. So if I'm wanting to do a business, you can't start a business. It's very difficult to start a business without getting a loan. Okay, but interest rates are astronomical, and it becomes almost impossible to pay back, because that's all you'll be working for. That's if you are lucky to manage that. These ones are affected by the incomes of these other ones who are in formal employment, etc., etc. And these other incomes are also affected by the what you were calling the middle class, who have set up their businesses and are providing services, say, to government. Now, you know what happened after this government came into power. They froze paying those guys. They said, we've got to do an audit, etc., etc., before we pay them. Now, what happened there? Government is the singular biggest, if you like, we call them customers in business, right? These are the biggest client that you have. So if I'm providing desks, I'm providing desks to government. If I'm so even in the PF days, you know, it's always been like that. It doesn't matter which government. So if I provide this desk to government, then so I will have taken some money, my money, probably gotten a loan on which I'm paying interest, as well as the repayments. And I sell it to government. So I've taken money out of my pocket. I've sold this to government. Then suddenly they say, we are not paying you until we've done an audit, which audit up to now, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't yet happened. So there are many people who haven't been paid. Why? The government wanted to suck. That is a way of sucking money out of the economy. The second way they sucked money out of the economy is when they increased the interest rates and the statutory reserve ratios. The statutory reserve ratios is where banks bank with Bank of Zambia. Okay, individuals don't bank with Bank of Zambia, but banks bank with Zambia. And the Bank of Zambia, for security reasons, say that banks have to keep a certain amount at the central bank. Now, they increased that and they put more money that was being held by Bank of Zambia. So, one, you are not paying these guys out. Secondly, even the money that was with the banks, you take more and keep. Okay, the reason they did that is they wanted to reduce the inflation rate. Remember, it was at 21, I think, and it came down to 9 point something at a point. Now it's a bit back up. So, excuse me, what's the effect of that on the economy? You, who is the provider of this desk, you don't have money. Now, remember, you used to go to cut your hair, kulika kababa shop somewhere, cut your hair, and madam used to go and do her hair and her nails. You don't have that money anymore, so you can't go there. And this person can't go there, and this person can't go there. So, Badia Panch Padia, those ones, Vama Baba Shop, Vama Chani, tomato sellers, they've got less customers because you, the middle class, Mulanadi Bendarama. Okay, so I'm explaining what has happened over the period. So, some of these people close their, then Kwabula Nazesco, all of these people were facing those challenges, less cash in the economy, power cuts and things. So those people became poorer as a result of what was going on. And your question is, how do we deal with this issue? This issue, when people ask me those questions, they expect a one-liner. Come and do this. It can't happen. It's not a one-liner. It's a cascaded thing. One thing affects another. Firstly, the government, when they get money, so let's say the government gets 10,000 kwacha per month. They have salaries, to pay. So government has salaries to pay. They also have debt to pay. And then they have social services. At Shani, cash transfer, Shani. Social services, medicines, hospitals, schools, blah, blah, blah. So when they get that 10,000 kwacha, they were finding that like 45% was to go towards debt. Don't forget, though, that we haven't yet started paying for that debt. And then something like 40% was going towards salaries, and then, or vice versa, but and then 5% to this. It's tough. So what does that mean? It means that it's very important. So here, I haven't even talked about growing your manufacturing base, growing your whatevers, which is what really, growing your farmer's capacity to produce more. Which means that the government is really caught in a serious problem. What it means is that we need to increase our income, and which is why the government has been trying to do its debt restructuring, so that we pay less and have more going towards
other sectors.
Other sectors. Okay. Now, here's where our difference with the UPND was, because where we should have been getting money, they reduced what we should have been getting money from, which is the mining sector. I mean, the mining sector is really a low-hanging fruit. It should be a low-hanging fruit, because there are things that are in Zambia that, if we did right, can actually increase our income as a nation. So when you go and you reduce this tax and that tax for the mines, when you analyze what we get from our mining sector, you find that it's pay as you earn, which is, Luchi, that if you in Ndine Muzungu, you are a Zambian, and we went to a school in London, and we studied. When we come, both you and I, Neo Muzungu, Naiwe Mufirika, and we join the mines, my salary is going to be 12 times yours. Okay? So it means the Zambians are not getting enough of a salary to give enough pay as you earn to our ZRA. So we're not getting that much
That's
money.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting because a lot of times you hear when people talk about mining and taxation, they always talk about
The corporate tax and everything.
Yes. They never talk about pay as you earn, so that's very interesting.
Yeah. So our people, look, the mines can only employ so many people. They're not that many. When you look at our population, 22 million, and you look at the number of people that are employed in the mines, they get peanuts for the work that they do. Okay? And a Muzungu will get, or an Indian or whatever, will get so much more. Even if, and you know that when they come, they don't know anything. So the Zambian teaches this guy, and so we get peanuts from the pay as you earn. The other thing that we get from them is, we have suppliers, so you might, if you were living on the Copper Belt, Luchi, and they give you a contract to supply stationery, small time businesses, but because it's the mine, it's big. If you, every day, then you are driving these chicas, hey, Luchi, Vapita, that sort of thing. But those are small compared to what the real mine suppliers, those big things you are seeing going. It's not the Zambians who are bringing those. It's other people who are supplying. For us, they will only give you contract to sweep this area, to supply pens. Do you know what I'm saying? So our suppliers there. The other way that we do get some money back from the mines is that they do maintenance, They do maintenance. So when the mines sell their copper or whatever out of the country, they don't bring that money back. That money stays there. They just bring money to pay salaries, to pay tax, corporate tax, and other taxes, and then maintenance. And their maintenance, they're trying to make sure that they get as much out of so they just do enough. Okay, so that's how we get in some cases where we have shares, we get a dividend if we are lucky. But you know that most of them declare losses. So the government loses out altogether. So all that copper has been going out since 1924, Firea for BHL, but it's not coming back. The other thing that we have done wrongly is that money is banked out there, not banked here. So when those big machines are being bought, they are booked out of the country, not in the country. So even our banks are not benefiting from what we should. So we can do things differently by telling you where the problems are. Therein lies the solutions as well. If we can change the model of mining that we are doing, it means we are able to get more out of that, which we can then use in the agricultural sector, in the, educational, health, etc., sector.
So it's not about recapitalization of mines. You don't necessarily have to take ownership of the mines. You can do this differently.
You can do this differently. I've always felt that, over the years I've been watching the government, the successive governments, and I've been seeing how we negotiate even our contracts. We don't do a good job. I don't know whether Tio Babazungu or whatever, you can actually negotiate better deals. Botswana, when they started off, I think they had 15% of those mines. They went to 20%. Now they are demanding 50% of the mines. Why can't we do that? It doesn't have to be boom to Apokama mines. You can actually negotiate your way up.
That's interesting. You also, I read an article of yours. I think it was one of the newspapers where you were very critical of some of the macro levels and what they were doing. For example, the exchange rate at the time. I think you said it won't make a difference. It's just for elections. Do you think that a lot of the things that you're beginning to see now are really primed towards elections. Exchange rate, there's a little more electricity than there used to be. Are these all primed towards election, or the reasoning from the government? And I had somebody in here the other day from the party who was saying that listen, the reason why, for example, there's a little more electricity is because there's a little more importation coming in. Some of the solar projects are in. There's a little more rain in Kafue.
We Zambians, we've been shingered butter for so many years. It's not just the UPND who are doing it. My disappointment, by the way, is the fact that they have almost gone to the same rule book as the other the other parties in power. We really, if we want Zambia to change, we must do things differently. This is not about UPND. This is not about any other party, by the way. It's got nothing to do with that. The time has come when we as Zambians must make up our minds that, guys, we can't carry on like this. Okay? Now, let's look at the electricity, for example. Point to me a project that has suddenly started making this electricity happen 24/7, every day, 7 days a week. What project has come online to do this? It means a decision was made. Let's now give them electricity. We've made enough money this side. No, we are going towards elections. Let's give them electricity. If you believe that things have now come online, then sure. We have a big problem.
But
the roads are being done in Ibex Hill. There are some serious roads being done. Like 2 lanes on each side. Why weren't they done before? Why are they being done now? We have to be very alert to the Shinga Butter season, where they just lie to you all the time. I think it's not right.
I wanted to say, is it a double-edged sword? Because, for example, when you mention, and you wrote them down so I can refer to them, when you talked about the fact that there needs to be debt repayment, the government then also has all of these other things that they're looking at. Is it a double-edged sword when you think about it to say, what do we do? Do we need to export because we don't produce enough? We need to export electricity. We need to export as much maize as we can because just generally as a country, there's not much production that we do.
Here's what I believe. I think the way you lead is important. The way you view the people you lead is also important. Remember, we talked about communication. Now, if I think that I have a 3-year-old child, I'm not going to start explaining to them about stocks and bonds and treasury bills, because this child will not understand. But if I have somebody of your age, I will bother to explain, and I'll say, Luchi, I'm your mom. I know that your dad left us with this 100,000 kwacha, but I actually put it in treasury bills. That's why we are broke at this time, because those treasury bills have not matured. You can understand that. But if I start to treat you like a 3-year-old child, you say, Mom, where's that money Dad left? And you have, shan. Do you know what I'm saying? The UPND in government need to start treating Zambians like adults, okay? So there are many things that have happened which they could easily have just explained, okay? This ZESCO thing, we know that they were exporting. Why were they denying it? Do you know what I'm saying? You are treating Zambians like 3-year-old children, and that's what upsets people. People knew that you were... So why don't you just come up to all of us and start saying, we were exporting power because we didn't have enough money, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I think Zambians are not unreasonable people. Their response to the army chief, for me, has really impressed me. Our response to the army chief has really impressed me, because they really brought out some key issues and and told, some told him off, and some told off the government. Some, do you know what I mean? It means that Zambians have become more analytical than we were. We don't just believe anything that you tell us. So the time has come for us to raise a leadership that speaks to the people and that can interact with the people and move with the people. This is where we want to go, guys. And the reason we are going there is because of this, and this is how we are going to get there. And Zambians, yeah, they'll buy that.
One last question, then I'll pick up phone calls. A couple of friends of mine, when we sit, whether we're watching football, watching Formula One, and we delve into politics for just a few seconds, there's one thing that we always say, which is when you hear anyone else speak in this government, you're hit with a lack of confidence. When you hear the president speak, there's sort of a direction that you can sort of see in terms of what he's trying to say, what he's trying to do. Is that a worry on your end? When you went, and I don't know whether you agree with what we always say, my friends and I, but do you also get the sense when you listen to the two different sets, whether it's ministers and then you listen to the president, do you see a sense of they're sort of speaking the same language, or there's one who speaks with a little more confidence in what they're saying than others?
Absolutely. Now, when I told you that we, as New Heritage Party, we've come to the conclusion that we need to work with others, is whenever you have a starring president, and we've had many starring presidents, you have a problem. And until we get rid of that problem of a starring president, all the powers are vested in one person. And just so that, by the way, that Grand Alliance, one of the things that we want to do is to change, not to change the Constitution. We want, the Constitution that we have was originally from 64. Yeah. And we've just been patching it up. It's like Vigamba. It's not helpful. We must have a constitution for the Zambians, by the Zambians, okay? And then the patchwork that has been happening all this time is instituted by a president or a party to suit themselves. We must come up with a constitution that doesn't lean towards any party, no party. We must reduce the powers of the president, because that's one of the biggest problems that we have as a nation. So we want to do away with this starring president issue, because it's bringing the country down. Because each starring president thinks they are God's gift to, and they think they are clever, very clever, and then they leave everybody else behind. Leadership is not that. The definition of a leader is the first among equals. So you must have people who are holding you to account. You can't just do what you want and think you can get away with it, and everybody's clapping. We have to stop this issue of clapping for a person, even if they are wrong, simply because they are in my party. It's not going to help Zambia. Now, one of the reasons you have that situation you are talking about is you have a president starts a party. Chishala starts New Heritage Party. So she becomes the starring, and everybody else has to agree with me. Whether I'm right or I'm not right, they agree with me. And because they are afraid for their jobs. It mustn't be like that. We must put the right people in the right positions who will say, Madam President, I'm the Minister of Mines, and I can tell you that what you are proposing is not workable. People who should be able to challenge and speak to power. You must surround yourself with these people. Don't surround yourself with people who say yes to everything you say. They are not thinking themselves. It's not right for the country. That's why we have this cabinet is meant to be a group of people who advise the president in their areas of expertise. Yeah. But this isn't happening. We have people who do things. They know what I'm doing is wrong, but they go ahead and do it. We really need to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me read you a couple of text messages before I go. I go pick up some phone calls. Let's start with Steve. Steve says, "How do we?" Just coming back to something that you said earlier on. How do we deduce from the 5 variables you've shared so as to see who has the right motive when we are not the readers of hearts? Then second question from Steve: How do we separate, or how do you separate yourself from the ones that you join hands with to rule, when those you join with are clearly and publicly seen as those with the wrong motives that you've alluded to?
Please read the second one.
So the second one: How do you separate yourself from the ones that you join hands with to rule, when those you join with are clearly and publicly seen as those with the wrong motives that you've alluded to?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me give this example. Women, what fire kuba umetefyo, Isaac fire is looking good, he's in a, nice threads, nice car. And he comes and you're saying, wow, and then something inside of you tells you, Chishala, run. Now, because us women, we like, certain things, and then he marries you. Then he starts to play you like a rubber ball. Then you understand why that thing that was inside of you was telling you to run. A human being has been created with the ability to discern, the ability to judge, the ability to choose. Okay? So when somebody comes and they start telling you lies, this chap, niwenye, this is not right. You know who is telling you the truth and you know who is lying to you. But because we just throw these things out of the window, we are so keen because he gives you 100 kwacha. Is that 100 kwacha going to sustain you for 5 years? As a matter of fact, one of the signs to know that somebody is not the right person is they will come to bribe you to vote for them. Because a person who is the right type of leader will not come to bribe you. Because if he can bribe you, what's going to happen when he's in government? He's going to continue bribing. Okay? So for me, it's us Zambians who need to open our eyes, to begin. When we are choosing, the Bible actually talks about how you choose elders and deacons. It tells you a husband of one wife, not given to too much wine, blah, blah, blah. It tells you a church has got maybe 500 people, maybe 1,000 people. If it's a big church, 15,000 people. The president of Zambia is 22 million people. Should we not be paying more attention to the sort of leader that we are putting in place? Now, I know that in politics they say it's a game of numbers, so you can just jump into an alliance with anybody. For us in the We Are One Zambia Alliance, one of the things that happen is when you get into a political relationship with somebody, someone will fall out. If you stand your ground, there are some things that must not be negotiable. When as you are going towards this, don't negotiate. Some things don't negotiate. Some things, should we have orange as a color? Should we have blue as a color? Those you can negotiate. But when it comes to integrity, when it comes to how you get to where you need to get to, there are some things which you must not negotiate, and that is your sieve. And that's the way life should be. Even in relationships, there are some things that shouldn't be negotiable. Yeah. Okay.
22684. Let me go to the phone lines. 22684 0978-895-895. If you'd like to get in touch with us this morning. Our guest this morning is from the New Heritage Party, Mrs. Chishala Kateka. She's our guest this morning. If you want to call us, 22684 0978-895-895. Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Miji. I'm calling from Leke Township.
Yes, Mr.
Mdola.
Yes.
Kateka mulingachiri munayoyo.
Bwino shani.
Mwane. Madam, I'm a senior citizen and a concerned citizen. This country, Zambia, madam, is bigger than all of us. These leaders will come and go, but this country, Zambia, will go. The point that I'm trying to make here, Madam Kateka, is that most of you from the opposition are actually elected down. Let me be honest with you. Your duty as opposition is to check on the government. Alas, most of you have taken a confrontation stance against those who are in leadership today. And once you are made to account for that decision that you have made of fighting those in government, you start saying there is shrinking democratic space. I'll give you an example of Mayo Samba. Mayo Samba made an alarming statement. When he was asked to account for his statement, you are saying there is no democracy in Zambia. Why should you people fail, to meet the President Hakainde and find out some of these things that you are saying? If Mayo Samba had the courage of meeting the President and find out about this issue, sure, he wouldn't have found himself in problems. There are so many politicians. I'll give you an example, me as well as others. Anyway, let me end here and give chance to others. But work with the government of the day by providing proper checks and balances. Zambia is bigger than all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Miji. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello? Okay, nobody on this line. 226-841-0978 895-895. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Eroke.
Morning.
Madam Kateka Mogawat.
Mauka.
Mukamana Dr. Proud. But what I want to thank is that Madam Arina Mutimo Wachifundu. Narina Bukumarirawa Kapala. Now president of my church. Continue with that spirit. Is it so, Madam?
Yes.
I have been so other people they do hate to know Malungu Goshiki or right? Don't be like them. For example, we got a by-election in Chawama. You are talking about giving money. But I go back to my 100 kwacha mayo siwako Chawama. Anakuasha. Are you telling me those people with Chawama, they don't wash themselves? It was funny them. That MOP never spoke anything. You win that seat on a silver plate. Mobile Moda is talking no example in Band of MPC is not what Angabali was. Including a PF when they come, they were taking more money in your pocket. But the second was at Nakara and Maruchi, you know that is broken. It was a PF formula where they use it. So what do we want? Today they are blaming about President Haga in the failing of road. Better it was a few under PF for that better could do the motors. It was under PF 2017-2018 when you go election. Today that road is dead. How do you build a road 5 years after? We got the Garden Road in Amangua 1986, family after family Pango. My bad Pango was president for change. So to return to PF, you, madam, just join the UPN in a Mutimo, you know. But PF will be done. But if I put newspaper, they don't remember football now. But I found that I remember today at 3 gate when what Zimbabwe was them. When the war passager to 100 watch of Muba Washila. No!
Proud, thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Proud. 226-841-0978. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Elijah Ngwali, senior blind student.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Gwali.
Thank you very much indeed. Senior blind citizen, the situation in which Zambia is now is really very, very sad. Zambia is a test nation. I repeat, Zambia is a test nation. Why am I saying that? I am saying like that because one, in 1991, President Chiluba declared this country a Christian nation. And two, to make matters worse, the declaration was at the preamble of the Constitution. At the preamble of the Constitution. At the preamble of the Constitution, please ask any lawyer they are going to agree with me. The preamble of the Constitution is just the pin of the Constitution. Lord Jesus Christ. Zambia is a Christian neighborhood. Foot. So Jesus Christ, our Lord in heaven, our Lord is God in heaven, the very cause that's from 1996, the reference you want to introduce the brown ethnic groups for these people, for the men and women of God, capital G-O-D, who are now men and women of God, most of them G-O-L-D, because they have gone into business. So what I'm saying in short is that we have a test nation where we have put Jesus Christ at the preamble of the Constitution, the rubbish bin of the Constitution, and see what's happening on radio station. We are not going to reach anywhere because of this situation in which we are. Thank you.
Mr. Ngwale, thank you very much. All right, you want to quickly respond to those three, and then I'll go back and pick up a few more calls.
All right, thank you so much. Vamushili, Bwididimwani. He's talking about giving checks and balances. In fact, I think I can marry that with Dr. Proud, who is saying, in Chawama the way. I would like to really ask us to stop limiting Zambia to PF and UPND. Zambia is bigger than UPND and PF. So when Proud comes to me and starts to tell me what PF we are doing in Chawama, he knows my views. Dr. Proud listens to every program and he phones in every program. I am not PF, neither am I UPND. I don't want to start talking about Mao Sampa and how Omonia Zulu and how they were. I'm not them. I have come so that we discuss solutions for this nation, not for me to start saying to defend or to judge what the PF did or the UPND did. As a matter of fact, let me take this opportunity to explain that grouping, that grand alliance we are talking about, we are saying the time has come for us, like I said, let us redo our constitution and come up with almost like a fourth republic, okay? Let us rebuild Zambia. Let us begin to narrow that gap that you were talking about. Let us do the right things for Zambia and for the Zambian people. Don't talk to me about Banani Kupas at 100 Kwacha Kuchawama. I don't care. I wasn't there. You know, what I care about is that come August 13, going forward, things have to change for the Zambians, regardless of where they are.
Okay. CK in Chingola, just on the issue of
CK.
CK.
Oh, I'm CK.
Yes, CK. He or she's based in Chingola. Says it's clarified. This is now the army commander. Clarified the reason of using the army was that it was discovered that some illegal miners have sophisticated weapons. Good enough reason, or your stand still remains?
When you have criminals, you know, I'm sure you've watched enough movies. They've got some serious criminals internally. It's still the police that deal with them, regardless of what they have. The issue in Chingola was throwing stones. Those were not sophisticated. I mean, I know that David shot a sling at Goliath and he died, but those were stones. Those were not sophisticated. Why does the army have to go into Chingola? Okay, and even in Mufumbwe or wherever it is, Kasempa, that they are talking about, if they need to go in there, they should go there to supplement what the police is doing, not to take over.
Okay.
Are we saying that our police is so ill trained? If that is the case, can we retrain them? You people don't seem to understand the importance of using the army. The army, when you let them loose in the nation, can breed certain consequences. Okay, there are consequences of using an army on civilians. So please don't go that route. Let's not go that route. I'm speaking for myself. I don't like the way that that commander talks. His face doesn't even look okay when he's talking. Where you've watched those videos, I think I don't know the man. I've just seen the videos, and the way he talks, for me, doesn't give me the impression that he would even exercise mercy on anybody.
Okay, someone asks, PSK in Chingola, he or she asks, in terms of flow of information, is it the army commander who is supposed to make pressers to civilian citizens, or it's elected government officials, the defense minister, if worst has gone to worst? I think we need to be guided on the flow of information in the country.
Thank you so much. In fact, I was thinking about this issue when I was waiting for the program. Really, I've never seen such an army commander who's so verbose and comes out like that. This is, I was just thinking, when the army gets involved in certain operations, they are very, very covert. They are quiet about what they do. But this guy, he's all over the place. What sort of an army commander is this? No, PFK is very correct to make that observation. This is a civilian thing. Even if they decide to use the army, we shouldn't even have known about it. It should have been announced by somebody else in government. We didn't elect this gentleman.
Okay. 226-841 0978-895-895. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Okay, thank you. What's your name, sir?
The name is Mr. Chilonda within Ustaka.
Mr. Chilonda, go ahead.
Chilonda Morgan. Abakateka mashuka ke tonso shui.
Mulishani Bachilonda.
Now, listen.
You have mentioned over the mining. I think for me to thank the army. Last time we had the incident at Kikonga mine, Northwestern, whereby the police went there, found the foreigners having guns, paying money to those miners, a little money to go and dig, and you start selling to the foreigners who are having guns. So, for us to be safe, what do? We have a defense force, and some foreigners are coming with guns to take away our minerals, and give money to those poor Zambians who are digging the boat underground and dangerous. Also, they don't have license, proper papers, and you saw Chabumuka last around 10. 20 have died because of lack of safety. Is it good? We know that we have illegal mining from Memorial in UNIT. That's the end they are living. But that's illegal. Illegal is meaning they're doing without the government knowing. So for us, what can we do to prevent on these issues? So for us, yes, we agree that the defense force is going by force. Police going by hearing their views, but defense force to go by force because there is threatening those foreigners who are coming with a gun and giving money to those poor Zambians. That's why we are saying we need to protect the Zambians. Those guns are not there, just the weapons are there to protect you and me.
Yeah.
It's a threaten. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Morgan, thank you very much, Morgan. Let me take another one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Morning. What's your name, sir?
Good morning, Chishala, kateka. Chishala, kateka,
Mulishani.
What's your name? What's your name?
This is Mr. Chomba of Ashkasuba. I'm in Lusaka, to be precisely Marshland.
Okay, but go ahead, Mr. Chomba.
Getting very clear.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Chomba. Go ahead.
Mrs. Kateka, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Bachomba? Bashkasuba?
Thank you very much. I will start with the issue of, you touched on the political issue. You talked about coming together as in forming an alliance. It if you can remember very well, Madam, there was one moment I had a conversation with you on radio, on the media, which I will not mention. But I think a year or 2 years ago, if my memory serves me well, I and my wife would be in nanny partisan in this country, going by the status of the politics of this country. Sorry, I'll mention this, which I even mentioned last time, and I often say to the nation that in this country there are no politicians, but most of these people called politicians in this country are dramatists. If for that reason, issue of coming together as forming an alliance cannot work out because of the nature of the people that are in this politics of Zambia. If we have to see the entire change, I mostly often say that it's about time that we change the entire system of politics. If anything, I'll mention all this you call PF, UPA, whatever. To me, they mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's about time that we get rid of anyone, either in ruling or opposition, and start up new. That's when you'll see a difference in this country. Because what I'm trying to say is this. Here is someone who messed in the previous regime. He had the hand in that mess, pointing to letting down the economy. And today, some person comes and points at it as a wrong. So to me, whether you're in opposition or ruling, all these are dramatists. Just more recently, I and my wife were in California, where we are going to visit our daughter, firstborn daughter, Kasuba, and we had the same conversation with our daughter there. She's the director of one of these international organizations.
Mr. Chomba, thank you very much, Mr. Chomba. All right, one more, and then I'll let you respond. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, what's your name?
This is Moses.
Moses, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Madam Kateka.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
For me, I'm very much okay. I don't know about you.
I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, Madam Kateka, I don't know. I just want to say something about the opposition. You are not really addressing issues that are affecting Zambians. If I can let me just compare to the late Michael Sata. Let me just compare to Michael Sata, the late. Michael Sata would address issues that were affecting Zambians by then when he was in opposition, compared to what is happening now with you opposition. You're not addressing issues, real issues that are affecting us. Even when the government makes a mistake, you shed little more light on it. Like, for example, the interviewer asked you a question. I don't know who, but I've forgotten, I think so. Achisa Mikushati, but if you're Malite, you didn't say much, talk about if you're Malite, when you could have explained, you could have, I'm a politicians like Cornelius Mwito. I remember he said it takes about 3-4 raining seasons for water to move. But today, the mouthpiece of the government says that no, because of the rains, we have good rains today. I expect you people to shed more light, tell people that these people are liars. And I didn't expect the army commander to say what he said, because I believe there are so many security wings in this country which can deal with situation in Mfumbwe. We have the para unit in the police service. There are so many units that can deal with such situation. So the army commander, Donald Trump, let me say the Americans, in the way of coming up with fake stories. All he was showing us were photos. He didn't show us any gun. He didn't show us anything that he was talking about. He didn't show he only showed the pictures, chapwa, So I think there's just this copycat of trying to, whatever they want to do, they come up with fake stories and then they go in and do whatever they want to do. It's a pity. Thank you so much.
Okay, Moses, thank you very much. Let me just, I just want to clarify something, and then you can readdress it.
Okay.
So Moses says that you didn't address the issue around load shedding, which is not actually true. I think you did, and I don't want to paraphrase because you're sitting right next to me. But I think you said that if anyone believes that all of a sudden they figured out and found a big project that has given us a lot more electricity, then I don't know why you would believe that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But please, you can address Moses.
Thank you. I'll also
more eloquently than I am.
I'll also begin with Moses because either he was not listening adequately or misunderstood, but I think that I clearly said that there is no way we will believe the issue that this load shedding is as a result of what they have done, because they need to show us exactly what project has come on stream. And also with regard to, he also went to the army commander and said, no, you should have said that there are other, but I said, I think I said that there's the police. You know, this is an internal matter and they could use this. I don't have to go into the detail of which part of the police they should use, but the principles are there by Moses, if you were listening. So since we started with him, I'll go back up. But Chomba is really, he says PF and UPND don't mean anything to him and that we really need to start afresh. Because politicians are dramatists. One of the things that I would like to say and make an appeal is politics can only be as clean as the people who play in that arena, okay? Now, you'll find that very few people who are clean offer themselves up for this. So what do? God didn't make a vacuum. That vacuum will be, filled by somebody. So when I'm looking for someone to work with as Chishala kateka, and I go to somebody, I know they've got a good economic mind or a good mining mind, and they are doing consultancies, and they say, no, what do I do? I'll work with the people that are there. So people need to offer themselves. And really, this country, as he says, it needs a reset, a fresh start. But how do you have a fresh start when the people that should offer themselves are not offering themselves? So I think that we all need to get involved in this political arena in one way. Look, you don't have to be the one standing on an anthill and shouting, but you can do some work in the background. Reach out. I'll give you my number so that you can also be part of that fresh start. Mr. Chilonda now was talking about this army thing, and that there were some foreigners there who had guns, etc., etc. It still doesn't make it right. The means does not justify the end. You can still do the right thing in order to arrive at the right thing, if you see what I'm saying. So if and I think we've discussed this in great detail. I don't see why we should go over it. Yeah. Number two is the communication aspect. The fact that they are not communicating, using the right channels and saying the right things. I mean, you are going to fumigate and exterminate. You're going to get this sort of feedback, I'm afraid.
Okay. Here's a question away from the army, but on farming. What's your take on the outstanding payments for some farmers that have not been declared?
Oh, thank you so much.
Should there be a little room for, a lack of a better word, excuses like we had a bumper harvest and therefore there was too much stock for the government and FRA to facilitate purchases for? That's from somebody called Tula.
One of the things where this country has a problem is lack of planning. We don't plan well. We didn't plan ZESCO well. We didn't plan we're not planning our cities well, we're not planning whatever. And you find that people think that even in institutions like ZESCO or Lusaka Water and Storage and FRA, you don't need to plan. You need, and you just say, oh yeah, the floor price is this and so on and so forth. But you need planning. You need to plan 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in advance, bearing in mind the growing population, okay? You even need to work with other institutions. Ministry of FRA should definitely have consulted Ministry of, are we going to have a bumper harvest? What's going to happen? If this happens, what should happen? If this happens, what should happen? Like that. But we don't. In Zambia, we just go. Kulayafi. And so when you buy this maize, where did you think the money would come from, to pay these guys? You knew how many people. Why didn't you start with the budget? We've got a budget of 20 kwacha, so we can only buy and pay for 2 bags of maize. You see what I'm saying? You can't just collect everywhere and you don't even know where the money is coming from and when the money is coming. Operating like that is very chipante, very pedestrian, and we've got to stop acting like that.
But can you blame them? Again, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little here. Can you blame the government first of all, because they're the ones who obviously said to FRA just mop up everything, because it won't be right for us to leave as much maize. So forget the planning part, because obviously there was a plan from FRA to say we're going to buy X number of bags of maize. Then of course farmers went bumper harvest, way more maize than that, and you've got a farmer sitting in office who says, well, listen, what's going to happen to the rest of this maize? Just buy it from them, because I'm the one who's been encouraging them to farm and farm and farm, and then they've farmed. Now I don't know what to do with this maize.
Luchi, when I talk about FRA, I'm talking about government. All of these are just the same hands of the same institution. It's government, whether they're called FRA or Ministry of Agriculture or Ministry of Finance, it is government. Okay, so does government not plan? Did they not know how much money would be available? It shouldn't depend on whether the farmers have a bumper harvest or don't have a bumper harvest. How much can you afford to buy? That's the question. Simple, straightforward. If you can only afford 3 bags, buy 3 bags. Don't go and buy. They sell them. These farmers have got markets. That's why the government is not the only, FRA is not the only market for these farmers. Firstly, we even stop them from exporting. So when we come into government, we are going to encourage the growth of not just maize, but other crops. And we should divide this into 3. Into 4. There's the consumption, you grow and you consume. There's selling to FRA. There is selling to the local market, and there is exporting. And these 3 don't necessarily have to have the same price. The price that you get when you are exporting is definitely going to be higher than these other 3. But we need a plan to ensure that our farmers are encouraged to grow as much as possible and help them to find markets locally and outside of the country. Because what will that do? Once they are able to export and get a higher price for it, it will encourage them to grow even more. We mustn't put blocks on these guys. They work very hard.
So you think the mistake here was that the government chose to be their own market, to be the market?
They chose to be the market.
Buy without having an idea of how they were going to pay, but then eventually find the money, another loan, rather than
which
saying
they haven't even paid.
Yeah, rather than saying let's find them the market and let them do the selling themselves.
Absolutely, we limit ourselves. Why do we limit our thinking? Why? You grow a lot of maize, and then I stop you from exporting. I buy from you, then I can't pay you. What is that? You know that those farmers depend on this money for school fees. Schools are opening or have opened, and some of them are not even able to grow because we are doing this maize that the maize we used to do kudala was, you grow this year, you save some, and you grow it next year. You don't need fertilizer. Now you've taken us into this space where we have to buy seed, which is expensive. Then we have to buy fertilizer twice, basal fertilizer and the other fertilizer. You know what I'm saying? You are making us slaves, food slaves, all over again. This is colonialism all over again, of a different type. We really need to wake up.
Okay. 226-841 0978-895-895 if you'd like to get in touch with us. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Francis Mumbempika East, Monamobi is calling from the secretary. Good morning to you, Valuch, and good morning to you, President Vakateka. How are you this morning?
Morning, Francis.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Yes. Vakateka, if there are people that I listen to when they come on radio, as a leader and opposition leader, you're one of them. And I want to encourage you, continue giving the checks and balances. You are well balanced. What I'm trying to say is you are everywhere. Where there are good things, you are there. Where there are bad things, you are there. Where people are crying, you are there. What am I trying to say? You are a leader. I can see leadership in you and continue the direction you are going. That's like a driver. When you're driving, don't pay attention to who are behind you. Chakona for chakona, you as the driver should just be steady and maintain the way you're doing politics. If something goes wrong, stick with the people. Why is the president continuing? Whether he wants to hear what you are saying or not say it, because you're not want to tell the president what the president wants to hear. So now, there are two questions that I want to. In short, I'm just encouraging you as a lady. If there anybody who's trying to be chauvinistic or anything, that's what you ignore, and just know that you're making a very big impact. I'm one of your separate people who listen to you, what you are saying, and I'm encouraging you to keep it up as a lady. Everyone does that thing. Now, with regards the banking sector, kateka. I'm a country with backing background. I also come from a banking background. Now, is it not possible? Why is that in Zambia, everything we thought to run, a car party wants to bring a foreigner. Like they have brought in a foreigner, remember at some point. Banking sector, everything, it should be a foreigner. A mining sector, it should be foreigners. You mean we don't have enough Zambians who can make sure that everything that is done at the way the Chinese do it? For China to do it to the Chinese who built China. No, why is it so difficult? Why do we start from xenophobia, fear of fares? No, see that mining, no, you can't even do banking. That's encouraging. You being a former banker like Kateka, the experience that you have, massive experience, and propose you for that. What advice would you give to say, can we bring back a bank like you, but if you became president, would you ever do a situation where Lima Bank comes back, or a bank that is wholly owned by Zambians, and make a bank that you hear as an Apple, Zambian National Commercial Bank, not even owned by Zambians? All the profits go out of the country. How do you expect to develop and prosper in the country when everything is getting in the hands of a foreigner? These are the issues that are there. Zambia is so rich that got everything. Other countries like Botswana and that conclude have got diamonds only and probably cattle. Their economy has been thriving. Why? They put the correct policies in place and they make sure they guard what belongs to them. Now us we've got everything. Sujilite, copper, everything. When we are using things, making sure the Zambia should be the first beneficiary. I thank you for the giant stage. Francis Mundu is standing up, enjoying the program, and thank you to you, Aruchi, for your good programming, and we love you so much as a people. Thank you.
Francis, thank you very much. Francis might be our next guest on one of our F1 watch-alongs with friends of mine, because that's something that we always say. Okay. When we say that one of the things about this country is and you see the problem with my friends and I is because when we sit and talk, we always talk from a point of we need to buy this, we need to buy that, and 9 out of 10 times we need to export these things. And so import these things. Yeah. And so for us, it's always, what's the price of the dollar? Why is it so high? It's because we don't produce anything. And Francis makes a wonderful point of saying, everything is not in our hands.
Absolutely.
We don't produce anything, one. Secondly, we don't own anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we do produce.
We don't produce much.
No. Hear me out. I would love a program where I just talk about the mining sector because we are talking about a whole range of things. I wasn't able to do a deep dive in the mining sector. So the issue of what happens is when you produce, we need to change the model of mining, and we need to change our mining policy. Our mining policy states that when you come, Luchi, from England and you want to invest in mines, so you buy an exploration mining license, which is in March. You explore, you find copper down there, and then after some time you now want to mine, then you apply for a copper mining license. Our law state, our policy states that we allow you to mine, to get the copper. Now, you know that down there, it's not just copper. There's gold, there's silver, there are emeralds, there are, copper. There's everything down there. And because there's everything down there, you will only declare the copper earnings. You don't declare the other things. And when you look at all the mines in this country, each mine has got an airport nearby. To do what? To take out those things. The copper goes by road, but all these other things, the gold, the emeralds, they fly out. And we don't gain anything from that. Okay? So, I keep talking about mindsets. I keep talking about that Zambians need to wake up. We need to wake up. However, it's not the average Zambian that is the problem. It's the leaders, the people you put in leadership. They are greedy. What happens to the rest of the Zambians? We have enough wealth in this nation, my dear, for us to all be much better off than we are now. So they sell these things. They sell them to the London Metal Exchange, and they keep the money. They keep the money out there. Okay, what does that mean? These dollars that you've earned as a nation has not come back into the nation. Therefore, you are saying we are not producing much. No, you've produced enough, but those dollars, because you keep them out, they don't come here to impact our financial system. So we need to make sure that that money comes back into the country so that we have enough foreign exchange here. Then the rate will go down. Okay, it's not rocket science, but we because remember the people who funded me for the election want it to continue this way, so they fund me, and I make sure that it stays that way. So we need to do things differently. We need to find people who can change these things for the Zambians.
Do you think there's is there a disadvantage to not having a bank that's owned by yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Look, we have these financial institutions who sort of set rules around there, and they have to make a profit. They are profit oriented. It's actually possible to have some that have other considerations apart from profit. And what Francis said is very, very on point. But having said that, again, I would need to do a deep dive in that area. Having said that, one of the biggest problems we have is we tend to look down on ourselves. So we can't run a mine. You've heard that people say we can't run mines. And then we've had others who say, Chishala, let's president. They want to pull you down. You see what I'm saying? So if you start a bank, they want to pull you down and things like that. We just don't. There's a big program that we have to do so that as Zambians we begin to shift the way we think and begin to build up our nation. It's very, very, very possible.
I have one last question just before we finish off. Do you think that there's a space and a room for lessons from, the KK days, i.e. things like Lima Bank, and Namboard? Is there a space in 2026 for something like that?
Yeah.
For things that worked then, and doing them again.
Sure.
Yeah.
These things were good. They were very, very good and appropriate. The problem, like I said at the beginning, if you don't identify the problem, you will not. The problem is the way we do our politics. Politics in Zambia is always the problem. We do it on a sectarian basis. So because I'm heritage, I'll find somebody to go and manage Lima Bank from heritage, even if they are not qualified. And that's what happened in the Kaunda days. You had to toe, as they said, you toe the party line, then you are given these positions. The time has come, and which is why in after August 13th of this year, the government that we are going to form is an inter-party government. Okay, it must be made up of many parties so that we have people that we can pick people who can do things properly. Do you see what I mean? Who have got the right skill set. Don't just choose people from heritage or people from northern. Do you see what I'm saying? When God created Zambia, it's a nation of 72 tribes. All of these have got people. Some people are capable, some people are not capable. So let's put the right people in these institutions. Only then will it work.
Yeah. Madam President, thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our guest this morning, Chishala Kateka, President of the New Heritage.